Welcome to Our Bloody Obsession, a gorecast for the extreme, created by two women whose bloody obsession it is with all things nasty. I'm one of your hosts, Zoe, aka Zobo with a shotgun, and I am joined by none other than one of my favorite people ever, Kelly, aka Venal Anatomica. We are going to be discussing the most disturbing movies ever made. So a bit of a warning for you all. This podcast features discussion of triggering, controversial and upsetting topics. So if you don't like extreme, turn this off now. So I guess, Kelly, what are we doing here today?
We are here to introduce Our Bloody Obsession, which is a brand new podcast that Zoe and I are co-branding and bringing together because we both kind of been dabbling our own, specifically Zoe. Like, you have had your show for a couple of years now, and I started to dabble in the audio realm over. I am part of Spinsters of Horror, and we have a podcast, I Spin on Your Podcast. And a couple of years ago, I started something called Kelly's Taboo Terrors, because I started kind of really getting into more extreme films, extreme horror. And I realized that there's not a lot of female voices in the podcasting realm when it came to extreme horror. Zoe, you being one of like the only women out there doing this.
Yeah.
And so I decided to dabble in the audio portion of it, but I wasn't doing my own editing. And to save my co-hosts time, I thought, okay, how can I still get my voice out there with regards to extreme horror? And I know that you kind of put your podcast on hiatus for a little bit. I was like, how can we help each other with our passion for podcasting about these types of movies? So I came to Zoe and I was like, what can we do? Can we like collaborate on something? We just both really, really love doing this and we really want to do it. So how can we help each other out? And so here we are.
Here we are indeed.
Here we are.
And I am, do you know what? I'm so glad that you were like, let's come together and join forces. Because like you mentioned, I mean, there's not many women in extreme, like it's very, very niche. Obviously we're connected with some amazing women in the extreme world, but like podcast wise and stuff, like there's not much out there. And like you said, I think it's so hard, like producing podcasts and things, especially when you're doing a lot of it on your own. I know you've had Jess there, but I know Jess is not like the biggest lover of extreme, as much as I think you've forced her to watch some things that
definitely have piqued her interest. So I have that effect on people. I'm sure you're like that too.
Oh yeah. I'm like, let's maybe watch like the pig fucking movie. And they're like, what? And I'm like, you love it, I swear. No one ever enjoys these things.
Yeah.
Our Bloody Obsession, we are going to be doing lots of different seasons, similar to kind of what I've been doing with Zobo with a Shotgun podcast, looking at lots and lots of different films. Surprisingly, there's a lot of extreme films out there. I think even you and I were surprised, right, about like how many exist.
The amount of subgenres within subgenres within subgenres, it's incredible. What you had already planned out like 15 seasons, and then I come in and now there's like 26 seasons, folks, that's planned out because there's that much content. There's that many movies out there that we can cover.
Exactly. So we have got an amazing, I mean, I think it's amazing, I'm pretty sure you do too, Kelly, but like an amazing lineup of seasons. We've got everything from like, you know, grindhouse films to splatter films to originals versus remakes. We've got necrophilia in there, we've got serial killers, women in captivity. I mean, the list is quite endless. I want to know, like, in terms of some of the things we're going to be covering, and I know in a second we are going to be giving away what is going to be our first season, but what are you kind of like most looking forward to when it comes to what we've got planned, and maybe what you're also least looking forward to as well?
I'll start with the negative. What I'm least looking forward to it's two things. The amount of unfortunate animal cruelty that is just kind of, I wouldn't say inherent in a lot of these movies. I've been surprised by real animal deaths and just watching movies. I mean, I watched a movie called Don't Deliver Us from Evil for my podcast like 2 years ago. And as Jess and I are watching it, I was like, are they actually killing these birds? Googled it and they absolutely did. And that's not an extreme film by any means.
Oh my gosh.
But it's just like surprising. I watched Pink Flamingos for the first time. I mean, that's kind of treading the lines of like definitely like cult cinema, transgressive films, a little bit like it's kind of depraved. Yeah. But they like absolutely distressed and harmed a chicken for the filming of that movie. And so, I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And if there ever comes up with movies that I haven't seen and like animals are going to be harmed in it, let me know. I'd love a heads up.
I will flag it for you, I promise. I'll do trigger warnings.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, I'm not really looking forward to watching that. But I'm looking forward to the discussions that we'll have about it because I'm a vegan. So I have thoughts about that. And then one film that I know we're going to cover that I'm not looking forward to revisiting because I never want to watch it again. It's called Snowtown. And it is a movie that disturbed me so much, so much. I was like, I am never watching this again. And that I can't say often because I'll watch pretty much anything and watch a lot of things routinely, regularly. But that one I am not looking forward to at all. What are you not looking forward to, or at least looking forward to?
I mean, first of all, I'm looking forward to rewatching Snowtown again. I've already seen it like 15 times. And it's a film, I don't know why, but I really enjoy how bleak and horrible. Maybe enjoy is not the word I'm looking for, but I'll always
appreciate or respect.
Yeah, so we'll have a great discussion. Probably the same as you. I don't like really enjoy watching the animal cruelty stuff, but I'm also like a big meat eater. So I think I kind of a bit like, well, I don't get to get too upset because I'm an arsehole every day. So, I think for me, the stuff I'm least looking forward to are the films that have like vomiting in. I don't have like a problem with vomiting. I'm always holding my girlfriend's hair back when they're like, vomiting on drunk nights out. Yeah. But watching it on screen, I find it like really, really difficult. I think I just find it a bit boring. And then I do feel a bit queasy. So I think we've got quite a lot of films in there that have vomiting in, and I think some of the more kind of like fetishy films I might struggle with, but you never know, I might also really absolutely love all the vomit fetish films.
Well, there is going to be like a treasure trove of films that I cannot wait to cover. Like, folks, we've got lists and lists of potential movies for every single season. So it's going to be great. I can't wait to dive into a lot of these. What am I most looking forward to? Just the general exploration of all these subgenres. I actually have become a pretty big fan of fetish gore and that type of stuff. So I'm looking forward to watching more of those movies. Let's see. I'm really looking forward to disturbing dramas. Like, I know that there are, they're not even specifically horror movies, but there is some like, I think it's called Compliance and Happiness.
Yes, Happiness, and I think it is Compliance. I watched it recently, and we're gonna have a good discussion about that one. I think you'll enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, even going into like Ari Aster's short film, there's something about the Johnsons. Yeah, not a horror movie, but hot damn, is that horrific and very disturbing and very dark. So that kind of stuff I'm really looking forward to. And also the going into Asian Extreme and Cat 3 films, because I haven't watched many of them. There's so much that I have not seen. Again, I'm so excited just to see a lot more movies that I haven't seen before. But category 3 films, like I have seen The Untold Story, but there's like a bunch of other ones. And like I loved The Untold Story so much. So I'm looking forward to a lot of these things.
Yeah, I think the same as you, like the exploration, like you said, we've seen like quite a lot, and I'd say, I've seen quite a lot of the stuff that's out there, because I don't know, at one point I had far too much free time, which doesn't really exist anymore. But yeah, I'm looking forward to like looking at some of those more kind of like indie underground films. I know that we've got like some really cool filmmakers that we're talking with, and that also, are going to be able to give us some access to their films, and that maybe, for them, they often don't get as spoken about as some of the other kind of films that we have out there. I'm also very, very much looking forward to diving back into Cat 3, like you mentioned, because Cat 3 for me is one of the, like, I kind of started in that area. Like that was where I kind of started finding a lot of the disturbing stuff, and like I cannot wait to rewatch something like Ebola Syndrome, because that film makes me cry with laughter. It is just so batshit mental. Like I feel like all of the Cat 3 things are just what the fuck films, and so I feel like we're gonna have so much fun with them. But like you said, something like The Untold Story, it's also so fucking disturbing as well. So I am very excited for us to ruin our minds for a long time.
There's so much content. We're just going to keep watching movies to ruin our day. And that is why we're here. And so how these seasons are going to play out is you and I are going to do episodes together. And then we are, something that I'm bringing in for my Taboo Terrors, that it's called Shock Talk. So we're going to be bringing guests on to talk about their favorite movies within the genre that we're talking about, like within our season. So for example, might as well introduce season 4, because we're kind of jumping off of Zobo with a Shotgun, because you've done 3 seasons, you're wrapping up season 3. And so season 4 is going to be on faux snuff and found footage films. So very exciting, big place to start off with. And we've got some guests lined up for Shock Talk. Absolutely. And it's going to be great. So our guests will come in and bring in their favorite faux snuff or found footage movie, and we talk about that. So
I'm so excited for this season, because I mean, I don't know about you, but like found footage to me, aside from the extreme stuff, is like one of my favorite subgenres of horror. And then I feel like you bring in the extreme, and it's just like the perfect combination. Like I absolutely, even the shit stuff I love watching. I'm like, so nasty.
Absolutely. Yeah. Me too. So we've got a really great season planned with Be My Cat, obviously the August Underground series we will cover. One of my guests is going to be bringing in, we're going to talk about 8mm. So in and of itself is not a found footage movie or a faux snuff film, but it is about a real snuff film. And I haven't watched that movie since I was a teenager, and I loved it as a teenager. I don't remember why.
I've never seen it.
I can't wait to revisit that as an adult and kind of look at it from an adult's lens instead of teenagers. But just like such a diversity of films we'll talk about. The guests are going to bring really great films to the fold for us to talk about. So I'm excited.
I am very, very excited too. So yeah, for anyone that is listening or watching, please do make sure that you are going to check that out, because as Kelly mentioned, we're going to have so much good stuff happening. But I guess what we wanted to do was also introduce ourselves for anyone that's listening that perhaps doesn't know us, which blows my mind.
Well, they'll definitely know you. I'm jumping on the coattails of you, Zoe, here.
I mean, I don't know why, but I'll let you do it. It's your choice. But I guess like just kind of thinking about like, you know, extreme cinema, because as we mentioned, like it is very niche, like it's not really to everyone's cup of tea, to say the least. But why was it like extreme horror for you? Like what kind of got you into that genre?
A couple of partners ago was really into like gory films. He was also
Mhm.
very much into real gore, which is not what I'm into. Like I don't need to
Yeah.
see beheading videos, but he was like really into that. Um, and if I came across like a top 10 most disturbing films list or like goriest films or bloodiest films, he always would want to watch them. So him and I watched a Serbian film. This is going back like probably 8 years ago. I
Yeah.
think we watched an August Underground movie, but I don't really remember. So we watched stuff like that. We watched Headless together, The Human Centipede. So I kind of dabbled and then kind of fell away from it for a while. And
Yeah.
then I don't know, just I've seen, you know, folks online, your podcast, just kind of brought it back into my life a little bit and then started dabbling in it, watching some more movies. And especially during the pandemic, when that all started, we're still in it, but I had a lot of free time. So I just like, okay, I'm going to sit down with, well, illegal streaming site f.movies.com because I can watch a lot of movies there.
Yeah.
And also Tubi has a lot of these movies. Okay. Tubi TV, free streaming service, has a lot of these movies. But I just started like, I'm just so curious. I think the
Yeah.
curiosity in me, the morbid curiosity got me into it. And then I was like, oh no, I actually really like this. I like that it's challenging. I like that it's disturbing. I like that a lot of these movies will stick with me for days after, because after being a horror fan for 25 years, not a lot of horror sticks with me. It doesn't
Mhm.
scare me anymore. I don't get a lot
Yeah.
of these visceral reactions. So watching these movies have really, I don't know, it excites me for film again. I like that
Yeah.
they're so kind of subversive and challenging. I love them. And the incredible artistry, like the practical effects, the freedom of expression in these movies, I really, really like. And again, because there's such a diversity in the web of extreme horror, like I blind bought Slaughtered Vomit Dolls and watched that for the first time. And I actually really quite enjoy it. And I was like, well, this is haunting. There's so much out there that is just waiting to be watched. And so that's why extreme horror for me, it's a challenge. I get the visceral reaction out of myself and I find them absolutely fascinating. How
Yeah,
about you?
I think it's pretty similar to yours actually. I mean, I just stumbled across extreme cinema. I was looking at found footage films, and I found Cannibal Holocaust, watched that, and I was like, holy shit. This
Yeah,
is, you know,
yeah,
I was like, oh my God, why am I, you know, like enjoying watching this, or enjoying kind of like, as you said, that like visceral experience. I mean, at first I was a bit like, oh God, have I got to see a therapist? Like, am I all right? And then, you know, and then I think it was all about kind of, for me, it's like, I like to see how far the boundaries can go. I like to see things that can be pushed. And I quite like seeing, you know, my
yeah,
own personal response to it as well. Like, where do I personally draw the line? And I find it such a, you know, as you said, a fascinating kind of, I find it such a fascinating topic and genre, looking at all of that like extremity and pushing boundaries and emotional responses. And, you know, a lot of it is very psychological as well. What I might find really disturbing, someone else is like, oh no, that's absolutely fine. You know, like
yeah,
you mentioned, real
yeah,
gore. I cannot deal with it. I have to turn it off. But if I see the same thing and I know it's a special effect, absolutely fine. So it doesn't
yeah.
make any sense. But yeah, I just find it really kind of like intriguing how far these films can go, and the taboos that they kind of show and things like that. Which is just, yeah, just love it, which is
Yeah,
why we're
yeah.
here exploring more
Yes.
of them.
Yes. Well,
um
it's also such a like an exploration of the human mind, the our bodily experience as
yeah.
living human beings. sometimes the films have like something to say, or sometimes they don't. Like I just love, again, the diversity of it. You can watch a Serbian film and then watch August Underground, and they give you two very different viewing experiences, but then also very similar viewing experiences. And I'm just fascinated by like creators, by the actors. Like, again, I'm really interested in the fetish gore stuff because it's fetish. They're people that actually are emetophiliacs, like they're into vomiting. And I just, again, I find all of that very fascinating. There's just like this wonderful dark world of just very different people. And yeah, I'm just excited.
Yeah, it's very strange, like all of the different sub parts of it. So I guess in terms of like when it comes to extreme films, what would you say are like maybe your kind of like top 5 or top 3 like go-to extreme horror films?
Um, do I have a top 3? Probably. Necromantic. I'm gonna put in 1 and 2, just like they just kind of go part and parcel together for me.
Yeah.
Necromantic 1 was one of the first movies I did see for like years ago, and then I like 5 years ago bought 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So I love Necromantic 1 and 2. Absolutely, the DIY aspect of it, especially the first one, like just like very gritty, very silly, beautiful score. Like I just love everything about it. Also, I really love like micro budget stuff. People just coming together with a passion for filmmaking, and they make this. And it's about a romance with a corpse. Like it's fascinating. And then the second movie is this like wonderful exploration of a woman's sexuality, which I'm just like, you don't assume like, you know, a movie's going to go there, but it does. Trauma, the Chilean film Trauma is
so good. Good.
The rewatchability of Trauma is interesting to me. But it's got like just like a banger soundtrack. It's like great. It's like it's filmed so well. The acting is incredible. It's very disturbing. The political allegory that's in it and the history in it. I'm just fascinated, but I love it. I haven't rewatched this. It's one of those movies, American Guinea Pig Sacrifice. I watched once, fell in love with it, and haven't rewatched it for no particular reason. But again, it's just like an hour of a man mutilating himself, but it's beautiful and haunting and then empowering at the end. Folks, if you haven't seen it, I won't spoil it for you, but that one I also love.
I like that you put that in there, because I think that's like definitely a more like lesser known film, and I think a lot of people have no idea that I don't even think a lot of people know that the American Guinea Pig series exists, and I'm sure you are just as excited as I am for the next installment in the American Guinea Pig series, which is of course going to be by Jessie Seitz, who is a good friend of ours, and an amazing woman in extreme horror. So I think that is just going to be like better than anything.
And Jessie's one of those people that, you know, the community, like I love the horror community, but like the extreme horror community is like so incredible with how welcoming and nice everybody is. And like, I'm sure there's a stigma and there's going to be a stereotype, and those people do exist out there, but anyone that I have met has been nothing but incredible and making friends left, right, and center with filmmakers and people like Jessie. I've become friends with a filmmaker named Nathan Rumler, who did Amityville Vibrator, which is a movie I love. But he's just like the nicest, kindest people making the most disturbing, sick shit. And I am here for it.
I think that to me is like one of the things I absolutely fucking love about extreme cinema, because like you said, there is a stigma. People, you know, you tell someone like, oh, I've watched a Serbian film, you know, a few times, they're like, wow, you must be fucked up in the head, sick.
Yeah.
You know, you think of like when Tom Six's The Human Centipede came out, and everyone, I mean, even now people are like, why are you alive, you shouldn't exist. And yet I think people in the extreme horror community are nicer than people I've met that like have never even seen like a horror film or anything. Like everyone's just so lovely, everyone is kind to each other, everyone loves like animals and has like
Mhm.
little puppies and kittens, and
Yeah.
it's mad
Yeah.
that the perception is so different to like the reality of everyone, like
Mhm.
completely.
Yeah, and like reading or seeing interviews with like somebody like Fred Vogel, who seems like the nicest man you could possibly ever meet. And I've only
Yeah.
heard wonderful things about him, but he made the August Underground trilogy. Like he made those movies, he stars in them. And it's again, that part just also fascinates me. You know, again, human condition, exploring all aspects of humanity. And it's so incredible. And yeah, everybody's been fantastic. So yeah. And you're one of them. So fantastic.
I know, we got to bond. I was like, yay, there's someone else that I could be like extreme horror besties with, which has been
Yep.
just phenomenal. And you know, again, here we are doing our bloody obsession, which, you know, is going to be so much fun, very, very gory, very nasty.
Yep.
In terms of some of my favorite extreme
Yes.
films, I would probably say, of course, as well, Necromantic 1 and 2. I think everyone knows that I'm a big fan of those movies, and
Yeah.
you know, even have it tattooed here on my arm. So of course, absolutely adore Necromantic 1 and 2. And I think, you know, similar reasons, like you said, the DIY, the artistry. And I think, you know, to me, I think, you know, the first film is a love story. It's a beautiful, tragic love story, and then the second film is pretty much about, you know, female sexual liberation, which you know, considering the time that the film was brought out, it's amazing that a piece of artwork like exists like that. Other films that I love Can Evernall's Baskin. For me, that's like, I can just rewatch that on a fucking loop. Like I adore it to pieces. I like how beautiful and poetic it is in kind of like its storytelling and its meaning, but also how horrible everything is and how it's just like this nightmare layer of gross things going on.
Yeah.
Then I think for me, something that will forever kind of stay, and I think it's like in my top movies of all time, is Sallow. It's just for me like a great piece of filmmaking. You know, it's got this amazing imagery in it, you know, again, super disturbing. I've also read the book, which the book is really tough to get through, like really tough to get through, but I think the film does a very good job of putting that on screen without also using, you know, like children, which the book goes way too much detail into. Yeah, don't recommend that as a nice read for anyone. And then another film that I really love, and I think probably one that we would definitely cover and that everyone is going to mention, I'm sure, is of course a Serbian film. I think it's one of the most disturbing films out there, but I also think it is an amazing film. And, you know, even like some of my friends and my partner who does not like extreme has seen a Serbian film and was like, that is a great piece of filmmaking, because it does exactly what it was designed to do, is disturb everyone. I don't know, you like that one as well, don't you?
Yes, I just rewatched it a couple of days ago, and really, a Serbian film is a family drama. Okay, its foundation is drama, and it is an incredible movie. Absolutely, yes. I also adore that one. It's really interesting. It's very well done. It's very bleak. It's very sad, but yeah, it's a family drama. So.
Well, I guess it's a family drama, but definitely not one to watch with the family, right?
Yes. It is a family drama, but not for the whole family. Yes, it's not family fun.
Well, we are about wrapping up here. We are very, very excited about our bloody obsession. As we've mentioned, it's, of course, a podcast about disturbing and extreme films. We would love for anyone that is listening or watching to, of course, get in touch with us if there's films that you think could fit within our seasons, within our themes that we'll be releasing as we go. Do share those with us. Of course, if you are interested in listening and following us, do find us on our social media channels, which, Kelly, I'm going to hand over to you for our outro and all of the other beautiful where to follow us.
Yeah, so really you can find us on all social media at Our Bloody Obsession, but Twitter is at Our Bloody Pod, Facebook, again, Our Bloody Obsession, and then Instagram, where you can find lots of great photos. I can't wait to start posting on our Instagram. That is not meant for my own personal Instagram. Bloody Obsession Pod. So please follow us, and the podcast is and will be available on all podcasting apps. So excited to finally launch this. This has been in the works for quite a while, and Zoe and I are so excited to work together, ease the labor of having a podcast, and just fucking have a great time.
It's going to be an amazing time. I don't know how our mental health will be at the end of watching all these. It's either going to be better or worse.
Yes.
And
yeah.
Any therapists listening, put yourself on standby, because you know we might need you at the end of this. That has been our launch episode. Thank you so much for listening or watching, whichever platform you are on today. Please do join us as we traverse this land of depravity, and stay tuned for when we get extreme and obscene for more disturbing films. But until then, stay nasty.